All right, so at this point, you should have already submitted your honor statement, hopefully, before you watch this video, which gives you a little bit of some of the expectations. I'm now going to go into the take-home test itself. If you want the Word document version so you can manipulate things, that's great. I'm going to click on the PDF. My recommendation would maybe be Word document unless it formats weird on your tablet. I know that happens sometimes. Um, and if you need to like insert images or anything and you have to insert them at the back, just communicate that with me so that I know that you didn't like skip that section, that tell me that there's work or there's responses somewhere else so I know where to look for it. So inside the exam, you'll have downloaded that CSV, the with data. So it's a bunch of college data. So it has the school, whether the school is public or not, the location, the average earnings for a graduate 5 years after graduation, average SAT score for admitted students, right? So this is the average of like in all of the students. It's not like one student. The average ACT score for admitted students, again, so like collective for the entire school. The price to attend the college for 1 year for out-of-state student in dollars, price with aid, average price taking into account financial aid, and then the fraction of students that receive need-based financial aid. One thing I do want to note, I would like you to say SAT score or use points for the units on this, because units are important. I don't want you to just give me a number of like 1,000. I would like you to say a score of 1,000 or 1,000 points. All right, so the exam itself, the first thing is just identifying are these variables that are in your data file, uh, are they qualitative or quantitative? So just write qualitative or quantitative for all of these. I want you to create a histogram for the variable SAT score, including all of the appropriate title, labels, scaling, etc. Place it here. Again, if you're using the PDF and you can't insert the image, it's okay if it falls at the end. Just make sure that you've communicated that to me. Write a complete sentence describing the approximate shape of the data. It doesn't have to be exact, but I do want a complete sentence, and it should be some of the terms that you've learned in class. Don't forget units, but you're going to interpret the statistics for the SAT scores in context. So again, this isn't just one individual student's SAT scores, right? We're looking at average SAT scores of all of these schools. So tell me the mean, the median, and the standard deviation. What do those numbers mean in the context of this data set? Chebyshev's rule tells us at least 75% of our data is within 2 standard deviations of the mean. So I want you to calculate the range that would be within Chebyshev's and then kind of write a sentence demonstrating that you understand what Chebyshev's rule is telling you is within that range. Next, I want you to create a box and whiskers plot for ACT scores. Place it here. Again, same expectations regarding title, labels, axes, etc. Write the 5 number summary. Don't forget units. And again, this is points or score. Write a sentence interpreting the range. So show me the range, where you got it. What does the range tell you? Write a sentence interpreting the IQR of the data. You can calculate it, and then a sentence interpreting it. Find the low fence for outliers using the IQR definition. So show the work. Do we have any outliers? Show the work for the upper fence. Do we have any high outliers? Just to know, everything above here is for SAT. Everything down here is now for ACT, the piece of data using ACT. Next, we're going to look at a scatter plot of those 2 variables, the SAT score and the ACT score. Make sure it has title, axes, etc. I'm telling you to put the SAT score as your independent variable, ACT as your dependent. Yes, these absolutely could be flipped, but for my sake, to make it easier to grade on me, I'm giving you a specific way I want you to arrange the variables. Make your scatter plot here with that line of best fit. What is the correlation coefficient? And be sure you interpret it in the context of the problem. There should be 3 pieces here. Should have the strength, the direction, right, positive or negative, strength, direction, and include that it is linear. There are other types of relationships. We are only interested in linear relationships in this section. So make sure that you mention that when we're interpreting our correlation coefficient and include the context of the problem. Write the linear regression equation and carefully define the variables you're using. If you want to use y and x, totally fine. Just tell me what y means, tell me what x means. If you're going to use different letters, totally fine. Just tell me what the variables represent. Define your variables carefully. Identify and interpret the y-intercept of this regression equation. There's two pieces to a y-intercept. Don't forget both of them. Identify and interpret the slope of this regression equation in context. So don't forget your units. What does the slope tell us about the relationship between these variables? Then use that equation to make some predictions. One is, what do you think the average score would be if its SAT score were 1410? This is of a university. Write your solution as a complete sentence. Another prediction, this time given an ACT score. Find how much error we have when predicting an ACT score. Right, so compare this to an actual value. I don't mind the order, just which direction, what is the error. Would you trust this regression to make a prediction for an ACT score of 400? Why or why not? Next, you're going to create one other scatter plot of the price of a university and earnings. Is there a relationship between how expensive a university is and your potential earnings 5 years later? So again, all that things of a scatter plot. Would you trust this model? Why or why not? And then, what do you think were the interesting parts of lesson one? What was confusing? Any suggestions? And here is essentially how I'm grading this. This assignment used to be like one essay, and I broke it into a lot of different pieces. This is why I want the complete sentences. But you can kind of see the rubric with which I'm grading it. I'm grading it almost more like an essay and less like a math test, right? So it's really important that you are demonstrating your understanding of all of these ideas, all of the vocabulary, you're using proper notation. And let me know if you have any questions about this assignment. Otherwise, have some fun and see you next time.